Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just got back. I just going to review something today because seeing as the coronavirus is still going on and I really still want to review some things because I don't want to leave you guys hanging for too long, I decided that I'd review some anime series that are wrapping up at around this time. So with that said, I'm going to review Darwin's Game, which was directed by Studio Nexus and stars Yusuke Kobayashi, Reina Ueda, Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, and among others. Now, the death game anime genre has certainly had its ups and downs over the years, with some like Future Diary being classified as classics in the genre, whereas others like King's Game are absolute garbage. Now, when it comes to Darwin's Game, it has an interesting spin on the whole genre that doesn't always manage to make it the most believable series, but it's certainly very entertaining. The story is that Kaname Sudo, played by Yusuke Kobayashi, is a normal high school kid who happens to be stuck in a mobile game called Darwin's Game when one of his friends who tries to get him into the game so he can save him. Darwin's Game is essentially a mobile game that puts you into life or death battles between psychos that have superpowers. But the good news is the points that you get from the game can be used to get actual money or other supplies. Plus, with Kaname's ability to recreate any item that he touches, any small item that he touches, he very well might be able to find a way out of the game and maybe even manage to save some lives along the way alongside some friends that he gets. Now, death games live or die based on how well they handle their action and how well you care about the characters, and Darwin's Game does manage to pull that off, as the Sunset Ravens clan happens to be full of great characters for the audience to enjoy. Kaname himself isn't always the most interesting character, but I do believe that they try it the best with a protagonist like him. He's pretty resourceful. He often freaks out at a moment's notice throughout the first episode, but he manages to pull himself together quite a bit throughout, and he manages to basically become more and more interesting as the show goes on. He develops, reflects, and happens to actually think his way through things, and I do think that if the show gets a second season, he's only going to get more and more interesting to watch. One of the other characters, Shuka, played by Reina Ueda, not only has an interesting character design and chains that would make Kratos from God of War jealous, but she also happens to have a really interesting fighting style, and her relationship with Kaname actually does would be a little bit healthier and probably a little more believable than, say, the main relationship in Future Diary, because even though Shuka might be a little bit crazy in her own way, she's definitely no Yuno. And the yandere stuff definitely isn't going to be in that kind of show. The other major characters like Ryuji, the big brother of the group, Sui and Sota, two people living in the same body who can control water, and Rain, the resident analyst, with a Lilapse ability that allows her to essentially see the future, in a way. They all happen to have their very own interesting quirks, and they all work together well as a team. Almost every single episode has some kind of interesting action scene, even if the animation isn't always the best, but it's generally good at the times where it needs to be. Also, the main antagonist of this first season, Wang, played by Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, is a very entertaining villain. He's pretty one-note when it comes to how he's basically just a crazy psychopath who likes to slice people apart. But Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, who also played Betelgeuse from Re:Zero, happens to fill Wang with the same amount of insanity that he filled that character with, and he's generally extremely entertaining with his vocal performance. The opening and ending themes are also both well thought out musical themes that add to the show's presentation. And even though the show is only 11 episodes long, the first episode's double length, so it does feel like it has the right amount of length, even if the best parts are at the beginning and at the ending. The beginning has an interesting setup and at least two really well thought out action scenes that introduce the game's concepts very well, and the ending has puts a cap on things really in a nice way, and has an epilogue that promises even more insanity during a possible second season. The middle part drags a little bit, but I can forgive that considering the cast and the story are as strong as they are. In a season that didn't exactly have the most anime that could thrill us, this one comes across as one of the more entertaining ones, even if it is very silly. That's why I'm going to give Darwin's Game an 8 out of 10. See you next time.